There we go. So that would be Wednesday, August 20th, and we're going to be going over the Small World Project. Let's see, click, click, click. Covering the stuff from before, click, click, covering. Made a new entry into the table of contents, so this would be the homework side, right below the one that said class names. You're going to write August 20th, and you're going to go down to number 2, you do Small World Notes, and then what is our first available homework page on this? 3. Turn to page 3. We're going to make that entry. Top left-hand corner, you're going to put the date. In the top middle, you're going to put the title of it. And below that, you're going to write down all of your interview notes. We're going to be doing our interview notes today. We're going to go a little speedy here for those of you playing the home game because this is 5th period. And we had time before lunch to get a little bit started. So it means I get to be speedy. Excuse me. For those of you who are dead today and watching this at home, you're going to be creating a project like that. You can pause it if you want. Just like that. That's what it meant. Maybe they pause it. Really had. What you're going to be doing is getting into a group. You're going to have a picture in the middle, finding pictures that represent you, finding adjectives that describe you. You're going to have to find out things that your group has in common, and you're going to get together and talk with them. You can get all of this on this little piece of paper that has information there. You can read that, and then you'll be good to go. And now we're going through and talking about the stuff you're going to have on the project. And we started saying that if you're in a group with someone that is a slacker, what is it you can do? Make stuff up. Because if they don't give the information, you're going to lose points, and that's going to make you sad. So if they don't tell you stuff, you make it up, and then we'll be good to go. You're going to have to go through and tell us the person's full name, first name, middle name, last name, unless they don't have a middle name, and then just tell us that they don't have a middle name. If you don't have a middle name, and you want a middle name, what can you do?
Make up a middle name.
Make it up. And we're good to go with that. You can call yourself, I don't know, Julie Sharknado Jones, and you can be good to go like, my parents called me Sharknado. Like that show just came out, and you're 12 years old. Yeah, they travel through time. And then you should be good to go. Where they were born. It'll tell us the city and state they were born. If you don't know where you were born, you can go home and ask the old people that live in your house. Hopefully they can tell you. If they don't know, then you can just make it up, and I'm fine with that. But one way or the other, you're going to have to tell us the where of where you're born, the city and the state. And Fishers, once again, did not have a hospital 12 years ago. We've had a hospital for about 3 years now, 4 years. So unless you, once again, you've traveled through time, then you're going to be out of luck as far as the hospital part of it goes. Allie?
You said 2 years before.
Yeah, then I realized that my wife got her knee worked on there, and that was like 3 years ago. Maybe it was 2 years ago, and it had been around for years. I had to go back and change it in my head. So I realized after I said that, I didn't want to lie to you, because lying to children is bad. So, what did I see? Zach, what's up?
Okay, if you're at home and you're watching the video, could you make up, like, all the stuff about the person?
Well, you have to wait till you come back in, you're going to interview someone. So like Connor, if you're watching this at home, he can't interview anyone until he comes to school and finds out who he's interviewing. So it wouldn't do any good. I mean, you could, and just make up a random person, but that'd be awkward. Then, so you're going to tell us what their birth date is and the person's age. You can make up your own birthday if you want. That's fine with me, want. If you don't like the day you were born and you want to be born on a different day, more power to you. The 2 warnings for that, of course, being is that 1, make sure it's an actual date. Don't invent June 35th. Because June 35th doesn't exist. And then 2, if you make up a date, realize that if someone else in the class has that same date as their birthday, they're going to get all excited and think you're birthday buddies. And you're going to have that awkward moment like, hey, birthday buddies! And you're like, yeah, that's right. And then you're going to forget what it is. And so be careful when you make up your own birthday. And then tell us how old you are. What's that? You're learning that when we ask poor questions, I don't call on you again. Oh, that's awful. You're going to tell us their favorite subject at school so far. Whatever subject that they choose has to be one that you can fail. So you can't choose lunch, and you can't choose passing period. If you can't fail at it, you can't choose it. Mr. Brovicast, it is possible to fail at lunch. Have you seen me eat? I keep missing. It's like my forehead. You are a failure. You're not failing at lunch. There's a difference. So you can't just be something that you can actually get a grade in. Then you're going to tell us the 2 hobbies that they have. 2 things that you do for fun. If you don't know what you do for fun, 1, you're a loser. 2, think about it. What would you rather be doing than being in here right now? Whatever it is you come up with, that's your hobby. If you're like, I wish I was outside chasing squirrels and I could put little hats on them, that's your hobby. It's creepy, but it's a hobby. You're going to have to come up with 2 of them. And there's every chance whoever you're talking to won't come up with a hobby. Like, I don't know, whatever. If they don't come up with a hobby, what do?
Make
it up. And that's, as soon as you hear them start saying the words, I don't, just get, you okay, you're good, and just go ahead and start making something up. So my recommendation is figure out what it is you enjoy doing. An interesting fact about you. Here's where we find out something about you. You figure out what is interesting to you. And it doesn't matter to me what it is. It could be the fact that when you were 5 years old, you got to go to Africa and you shot your first elephant and you have the horns, tusks. Elephants don't have horns. The tusks mounted in your home, and so you're all excited. That's pretty interesting. For others of you, maybe that's not so interesting. You're like, when I was born, I had 10 fingers. We're like, that's not very interesting because we all have 10 fingers. So for you, this is where you let us, don't come to me and say, is this interesting? Because I don't know. It's up to you. You're telling us what you think is interesting. If you have questions, you have to write them down because I'm going to be ignoring all of you until the end. But I just like to talk. I know. I do too, but I win. And then the other part, you're going to go through and tell us their pictures and adjectives. So without looking at the poster, you have to have it written down. So you're going to be able to tell us what pictures they chose. Don't worry about describing them. Just tell us that they have Cinderella and a Bigfoot and a ninja. And so you just have to tell us what they are and then what their adjectives are. They're athletic and lazy and big and short and confused. And you're going to go through and tell us what they've chosen. You're going to have some kids who aren't going to choose their adjectives. If they don't choose their adjectives, what do? Make it up. So don't come to me and say, they're not. I'm just going to say, make it up. If you don't make it up, that's fine. You lose the points. We did the yellow sheet last week. With the yellow sheet, what is it? The whole point of me making you do that was?
Follow directions.
This right here is a whole figuring out how well you're going to be following directions. Because coming up where it says choose any 2 of their favorite, this is what you're going to screw up and mess up and lose points on. Because it has to be 2 different things. I didn't write that on there because I'm saying it out loud to see how well you follow the directions. My recommendation is if you think you're a little bit slow, write the word different next to it. That way you don't forget later. So you have to have 2 different favorite things. Movie, food, TV show, book, color, or game. So you're going to have to tell me what 2 of those are their favorites. I don't want to say, they have a favorite game and a favorite color. What? What's their favorite game? So tell us that they like backgammon and red. That's good. So, but you can't tell us 2 of the same thing. Their favorite colors are purple and light purple. You're going to lose points because those are 2 colors. I want 2 separate things. Also, it has to be from the list. If they tell us animals, don't care. I like penguins and I like Eskimos. Eskimos aren't an animal. Oh, polar bears. Still out of luck because I don't want 2 animals. I want things from the list. Then the final section is 2 of the items on this thing connected to their name. So we can sort of know a little bit more about them. There's 4 things here. You only have to choose 2 of the 4. Option 1, interesting history of their name. Some people have an interesting reason why they have their name. It could be, for me, my first name comes from my father's best friend. He died in a car accident right before I was born. My dad was sad. He missed him, so he named me after his dead buddy. That's my interesting history. You might not have one. Maybe your parents are like, I don't know. I just thought Frank sounded cool. And you're like, not interesting. That's up to you. So some of you have it, some of you don't. If you don't have one, don't choose it. Or, if you want to have an interesting one, you could
Make it
see
up.
how it works out. First and last name in Pig Latin. If you don't know Pig Latin, you can learn it. I'm going to teach you guys Pig Latin tomorrow. It's going to look like this, and we'll go through and talk about Pig Latin and hook you guys up. So I'll teach you Pig Latin if you don't know it. It's just a crazy way of speaking that'll mess with your head. Next up, what animal they would be and why. I recommend you circle the word why, because that's what you're going to forget. Because you have to tell me why they would choose that animal. And the animal has to connect to their name. So if you're choosing Allie, whose name is Allie Buffkin, that gives you an A and a B to work with, or her middle name, whatever that might be. So if it's Allie, you could choose like an alligator or a bison. You could not choose like a cat because that does not connect to her name. So pick something that connects to it and then tell us why. I want to be an alligator because I've always wanted to have so many teeth that they're bigger than my head. Or I want to be a buffalo because I think being extinct would be fun. So you're going to come up with some reason why they want to be it. If you don't tell me why, you lose points. If they won't tell you why, you're catching a theme here. And the last one is called the 5-word alliteration. You can choose this one if you want. 5 things in a row starting with the same sound that all connects to their name. So if I had someone named Louis, I would say Louis, or Louis, loves to lick lollipops and licorice. Doesn't have to be true, just has to show me that you can use their name and come up with at least 4 other words, all starting with that same sound. I don't care if it, so if we were to once again pick on Allie attacks acrobatic alligators with air guns. She's like, oh, I would never attack alligators, that's me. That's fine, you're just showing me the fact that you can come up with multiple ones in a row. That's what you're going to do for the interview today. Josh.
I wrote all this down.
I'm proud of you.
Is that going to be a problem?
No.
Good.
Okay. Yeah.
Technically, you have 8 fingers because your thumb doesn't count.
Travis.
What's your first name?
Yes. And yes. Jake.
So is there a limit on what you put your birth date? Like, can you put like yesterday?
No, that's fine. As long as you have them actually write it down, whatever that date is. That's fine for me. Fun stuff. In a moment, I'm going to be doing a couple things. One, giving you your groups. And when I give you your group, you're going to write down a number. Don't write down a number now. It's not your favorite one. I'm going to give you a number to write down, and then you're going to know what group you're in. And we're going to get into the groups, and then you're going to begin the interviewing process where you figure out who irritates you and who doesn't irritate you. So if I were to make these 4 people into a group, so if it was going to be Allie and Baba and Cassie and then Carter, the 4 of you would get together and be like, oh, irritate me, irritate me, irritate me, you. And so you're going to pick it and you just sort of pair up and you can interview each other. If everyone irritates you, you can do what's called a round robin. In a round robin, instead of partnering up, you go in a circle. So it would be Carter interviewing Cassie, Cassie interviewing Baba, Baba interviewing Allie, Allie over here to Carter, and that way it goes in a circle. You can pair up or circle. I'm happy either way. But there's a problem. I have 2 groups of 5 people. If you're in a group of 5 people, you can't pair up because that leaves one person by themselves crying. And if I have one kid crying, it makes me upset because of the tears, and I want to stomp on someone, so bad things are going to happen. So in that case, in a 5-person group, you either do one big circle or pair up and then a smaller circle. But in a 5-person group, there's going to be a circle somewhere. You'll figure it out from there. When you do the interviewing, no one should be sitting doing nothing. So if I'm interviewing Oliver and we're going back and forth, I go, what's your name? He tells me, he goes, what's your name? And I tell him, and then we both write it down. It shouldn't be Oliver asking questions while I just go, and doing nothing. I'm going to walk around, and if your sheet's empty, I'm going to edumacate you with my stickification. So make sure that you are writing stuff down and asking them. I think we're good to go from there. Oh, once I give you your number, if you forget your number, I will happily tell it to you again later for a small fee. So my recommendation is, and if you forget it tomorrow, like come in tomorrow, Mr. Brovicast, I don't remember, I'll be happy to tell you for a small fee. How much is that fee? 2 points today, 3 points tomorrow. Josh?
That's a lot of questions to ask.
Yes, I'm proud of you. I'm going to stop.